For those of you who joined us live for the Preppin Data and Workout Wednesday solution, thank you. But I will also record this video for those who weren't able to join live so that you can have the solution for your reference too. So we're starting off with our medalist table and our country codes. We're just going to do two joins here. One of them is on the country and the other one is on the code, so that we can get a country and a code for every single country, because our medalist table, although you can see it has the country code and the country, there are some that have one or the other. So basically we just want them to all have both. So we do those joins, and obviously that's going to drop out quite a lot of rows for those that, are nulls. So we can see, like, quite a lot being excluded from the medalist there, but then we can see that, there are less being excluded here. So that's all good. Sorry, I was meant to be pointing at the orange step for that, so we can see that. So basically we just take out the unnecessary columns from each before we do a union together to get all of those medalists back together with both a country and a code. So that's how we do that first step there. Next of all, if I just open up my changes tab here, then we're doing things like grouping together canoeing and canoe kayak for the sport. So if I show you quickly how we do that, or how I would just do that quite quickly, because it's quite a manual thing. So there's the canoe kayak, there's the canoeing. So you can just highlight both of them with the control and click functionality and just hit group. And then it renames it to canoeing, which is great. So that's how I would go about doing that requirement. For the discipline, I know that this caused a bit of upset by my instruction to group together sensible values for the discipline. And basically I just wanted you to be able to have a play with all the different grouping functionalities in Tableau Prep. So I was thinking that things like road cycling and cycling road, they should definitely be grouped together. And all that sort of thing, but also being careful that you don't get stuff like baseball and basketball grouped together. So it's just kind of having a play around, finding things that you think are the same disciplines and going from there. Like, for example, I think that artistic gymnastics was artistic G and artistic, and yeah. Anyway, so then we've got to find all of those events that have meters or kilometers in the title. So that's just using a simple replace for meters and replace it with an M. Similarly for the word meter, similarly for the word kilometers, just so that that makes the list of events go down slightly. So that's helpful. And one final group and replace to just keep cleaning that up. Most of the time, swimming in the sports section is referred to as aquatics, and then the discipline is swimming. So we're just grouping together aquatics and swimming, again using a similar type of way as to how we group together canoe, kayak, and canoeing. Cool, so that is our first output achieved. So there is our medalist output. Now we're going to want to get rid of the actual athlete level of detail, because, for example, for something like basketball, you're going to have multiple athletes, but only really one medal, because it doesn't count. Otherwise everyone would just go for like the big team ones and try really hard in those and not bother about individual medals, right? So we just need to basically group by everything apart from the athlete, and we actually don't need the country code going forwards. So we leave that as well, and even, everything there we just group by. So that's nice and easy. We go down from like 33,000 rows to about 16,000 rows. Lovely. And then we are going to want to be doing a pivot. We're going to want to have a column for each of the bronze, silver, and gold medals. So we are just doing some cleaning up, getting rid of the unnecessary columns. We could have done that in the aggregate step. I chose to do it this way. And we're introducing this dummy field here for the count. So this is just a 1. And it's just so that when we pivot, we can sum all of those rows where all the gold medals were, for example. So if I show you what I mean by that, then we've got our bronze medal here and we've got this dummy count field here, and that just means that when we've pivoted it, it's counted up all the rows for each year and for each country for those bronze, silver, and gold medals. So it's almost just like counting the number of rows when we pivot, and that is in fact our output 2, I think. Yep. that's all that we need to do before we output it. Ignore this clean step. This was just where I was playing around with some other things. So lovely. Now, if we have just one final thing to do, we've got our host dataset, which came from week 28's Preppin Data. Originally came from SportsFit Sunday. Oh, we do like to play with the data and clean it up in different ways. So we start off by having, if I just click back there, we start off by having the host, having the city and the country name separated by a comma. So we want to split this up into the city and the country, and we just want to trim that because we've got a leading space there, and rename each of those. I think I trim it at some point, maybe in the next step I trim it. Yep, I think that's been trimmed now. Yeah, there you go. That's where I've trimmed the spaces for the host country. So to do that, you just go to clean, trim spaces. Lovely. And I've just done some things like changing the data type for the start and end date, renaming some fields and that sort of thing. And other main thing that we need to do here is we need to change the United Kingdom in the host country section to Great Britain, so that it will join nicely in the Workout Wednesday challenge, because as we know in the Olympics, the United Kingdom, well, it competes as Great Britain, so we just need to make sure that that is how that is being stored in our dataset. So lovely, now we've got our third and final output. So hopefully those were all quite simple challenges, but getting you familiar with the data ahead of playing with it in Workout Wednesday. So hopefully this was useful, and please do go on to see Lorna's solution to the Workout Wednesday. Thanks for listening.